Hey, this is Charles Kirkland. A buddy of mine, Andre, asked me what would I do. He sent me a scenario. Basically, we've got $500. We have no reputation, no clout in the market. We do have a opt-in page. We do have something to sell, whether it's our product or an affiliate's product. And we need traffic, and we only have $500 to spend. What would I do? Now, the big key here is there's no clout. It's not like I can walk up and go, hey, I'm Charles, know about traffic, give me money. We have none of that. We're going into a brand new market, which I'm currently playing with now. The first and obvious answer is we hop into the Doctor Who TARDIS, we travel back to the good old Google cache days, and we get clicks for pennies on some of the most competitive keywords. Considering that's probably not going to work for 100% of us, we have to have a legitimate plan. This is the plan. We need to understand there are three types of traffic today. We've got paid traffic, we've got free traffic, and we've got earned traffic. Most people are very familiar with free and paid. What is earned? Earned is that social sharing where, I give an example, Brandon Bouchard puts up a quote and he gets 16,000 likes and 2,000 or more shares. That is earned traffic, where people think your message, your content is good enough to share it with a larger audience. That's very important in the context of what we're about to do. Now, with that said, now that we know the difference between those three types of traffic, how are we going to use $500, which is not a lot of money in the world of paid traffic, to make sales? Before we do anything, we have to look at what is the lowest hanging fruit that we're dealing with. Now, we know that we've got free, we've got paid, we've got earned traffic. We're going to make the entire base of our business paid. And we're going to do it smartly by leveraging free and earned traffic. First of all, you need to set up retargeting, because this is the big deal. As people visit your site, I'm going to just call it retarget here. It could be retargeting, whatever you want to look at. I don't know if I've got enough screen space to go off. The thing that you want to look at is if I've got free traffic coming to my site, or if I've got earned traffic coming to my site, they're potentially cold traffic. They most likely don't know me from Adam's house cat. With that said, I could retarget them to warm them back up to create a relationship. Now, this is where we will set the retargeting up. Now, this will be very different for a lot of people, because if your site is not AdWords compliant, guess what? Make it AdWords compliant. If you're selling in a niche like get rich quick selling cat pheromones, you probably need a different niche, just saying. I would set my retargeting up in AdWords, YouTube. Now I know somebody's going to say, Charles, YouTube and AdWords, same thing. Yes, I know we can create YouTube ads inside of AdWords, but I want to say these are very different ads. They're a very different user experience. And I'm also going to say, I'm going to come over here and put Facebook. I'm just call it Face B, because A, we're running out of room. Okay. Would I create retargeting for Twitter? Unless my audience hung out there exclusively, no. Why? Retargeting for Twitter is expensive. Twitter itself is expensive. It's not LinkedIn crazy expensive, but it is expensive. You say, but Charles, you've always said don't worry about the cost of the click, worry about the quality of the click. Only have $500. We have to be concerned with the cost of every click. And B, $1.25 a click. That's not a whole lot of money. You're going to run through that in Twitter very, very fast. Retargeting in AdWords, relatively inexpensive. Retargeting in YouTube, relatively inexpensive. Same thing with Facebook. And also there's a different learning curve. Just very important. In building that relationship, I can show you my video. You see me, you hear me talking. That's developing a relationship. AdWords, I can, hey, you visited my site, blah, blah, blah. It's a different search intent. Facebook, I can have my image, my description, I can have a lot of stuff there. Twitter, you're very limited from a character standpoint, and honestly, it's expensive. I like it, it's expensive. These are the only three sets of, or only three places we would have the retargeting, because honestly, we have to keep in mind only $500. This is the most important part about it, and this is where I'm going to fudge. Andre's going to say, Charles, you can't do that. He's going to call me up and say, I can't do that. A lot of times with AdWords, we can spend money we don't have. We have to pay the piper later. Same thing with Facebook. I can start running ads and I don't have to pay for them right now. I'm not paying for them in advance. So because of that, I'm going to fudge this 500 just a little. But this is the key. Set up your retargeting in AdWords, YouTube, Facebook. Now, once we've got all three of those set up, our next thing that we need to look at is, what in the world are we even going to tell these people? I'm telling you to set up retargeting, but what are you telling them? Well, this is the second thing. All the traffic, whether it's earned, whether it's free, whether it's paid, will be retargeted back to, and we need to use a multi-tier approach. And I probably need to invest in some marketers, maybe some high-quality marketers. I don't need staples marketers. First of all, we need a relationship. I would never first of all, I'm married, so I would never walk up in a bar and ask a woman for a date because my wife would shoot me, most likely, or even worse. But let's just say that we were trying to develop a relationship with your husband, wife, future spouse, whoever. Would you walk up to them and say, hey, you know what? You're the most beautiful woman here. I can't believe how beautiful you are. In fact, you're alone. I would love to, get married, have 2 kids, have a white picket fence, have a golden retriever. It's going to be pow, or you're going to get maced, or an ex-boyfriend will beat you up. It's not going to work. We have to develop a relationship. The same thing that works here. I have 2 options. First of all, if you just visit my site and you bounce off, this is extremely critical. If you bounce off, does that make you qualified for a retargeting lead? No. You say, but no, Charles, they visited my site. They were there for all of 2.5 seconds. Very, very important. I learned this from Justin Brooke, by the way. When people visit the site, they bounce off really fast. You'll have some people who are ultimately not qualified to be your prospect under any circumstances. Never, ever, ever will they buy from you. One of the things that Justin talked about, and I think is really ingenious, hiding the code. As an example, you can actually have code appear after a certain amount of time. You could say, hey, if they've been on my site for 5 seconds, 4 seconds, then let's drop the retargeting pixel. Basically, we drop that pixel because the people that bounce off, that maybe hate our guts, that they go, I can't believe I'd ever listen to this person. Boom. Those are not the people that we want to develop a warm relationship, because we're limited by money. This is the most critical. If we weren't limited by money, I could use PPV pop-ups and drop my cookie on all my competitors and say, hey, look at me. We can't do that. So first of all, we need to get people retargeted, and I want to retarget people to different areas. We have for content. Just imagine this. Somebody visits our page, they're up for 5 seconds, they're browsing around. I'm going to retarget them back to my content page. Am I going to retarget them back to an opt-in page? No. Why? Do I have a relationship yet? No. Not in any way, shape, or form. So I'm going to retarget them back to a content blog post, which will have the opportunity for them to read it, to consume it, and to opt in. I'm going to do this especially, I'm not going to do this in YouTube. I'm not going to do this in AdWords. This is where Facebook retargeting just shines, because people will consume content on Facebook very, very easily. So I would basically have a good headline, and I would start running retargeting for people that visited my site who did not opt in, to take them back to the content. I would have a really great piece of content. Does it take time to build content? Got to spend time with John Morrow. The guy is a genius. If you're not following him, he's just a genius. And he made a comment about the content they produce. They will spend 8 hours producing content. I mean, most of us think, okay, I'm going to write this blog post as fast as I can because I got other stuff to do in life, like head to the beach and go boogie boarding there, or lay out by the pool, or something of that nature. Spend some time making your content share worthy. The content has to be good, that wow, where did this dude come from? I got to share this content with family and friends. You want to have share worthy content. It's extremely important. That's where your Facebook fan page is going to play in, because you need a fan page to run these kind of ads. So we're going to have a Facebook fan page. Also, because we want share worthy content, you're going to use, I believe it's called the Mashable plugin. You want to make sure when you land on this page, they're not searching around going, where's that stupid share button? Oh, over here, down in the bottom right corner. There is none of that. When they land on this page, you can share it right here. Share, share, share. It's called the sharing economy. I don't know how that name came about. So you want to make it shareable. You want to make it high quality. Also, you want to have a call to action, possibly a larger banner, broken up into the blog post, which will take people to these opt-in page. You need them to opt in. And whatever they're opting in for needs to be congruent with if you've got an article on how to, the 10 best ways to make a webinar, and you got to opt in here for 5 ways to write articles that convert. Non-congruent. This has to be 100% congruent to that, or you're wasting your time. So we're retargeting people back to our content. From that content, we're retargeting people back to get them to opt in, and they can actually see the link to the opt-in form there. The people that opt in but do not buy, this is what most people do. Well, they didn't buy, so you send them back to the sales page, right? Because obviously they just weren't smart enough to know that this is going to solve the problem. That is the wrong approach. That approach worked many years ago when we could just beat our prospects and we could hammer in what we wanted, what we wanted, what we wanted. It is dumb as dirt to take an opt-in that did not buy and send them back to the exact same opt-in page. Why? Obviously they had some injection here. Maybe they don't like you, don't trust you, maybe the price wasn't right. We cannot just send them back to the same opt-in page. I mean, yes, it gets results. I'm not even going to lie about that. It gets results. But would you be better off to send them back to another page that maybe addresses a different problem that they're having, but it's the same product? Let's just say the webinars. Best ways to have webinars, best ways to monetize webinars. The 5 ways to turn your webinar into a 6-figure business. And then the sales, product is maybe a webinar on how to have webinars, whatever the case may be. We need to get them to buy. So we need to basically send them back and try to overcome their objections. And we're doing that inside of where? Facebook. We're bringing these people back in Facebook. Now you say, well, Charles, this is all great. I see how Facebook plays into this. But what about AdWords? How does AdWords and YouTube, those are very different animals. And I'm going to talk about YouTube first, then we're going to get AdWords. Don't let this creep you out. We can say, hey, this is Charles. I noticed you read my articles, you visited my opt-in page, but you didn't buy. Dude, are you a slacker? What's wrong with you? You know I can solve your problems. That's not the way to do it. That is absolutely not the way to do it. Too many people do it that way. And they come off as cyber stalkers. Like the teenage prom queen who, was jilted by the captain of the football team. And I think there was like sci-fi horror movies about that. It freaks you out. Just leave it at that. I've tried it before. It does freak people out. I think we would be better served by saying, hey, this is Charles Kirkland. I just want to say thank you. I have a lot of people ask me about Super Webinar Sales System 2000 and how it can help them. Then you go into how you can help them. And guess what? Because it's YouTube, we have to pay for the click. I know there's this thing, well, Charles, you can get like free clicks on YouTube, and if it's under, all that disappeared last week. What you need to do is to basically come to them when they're going to the videos, hey, this is Charles Kirkland, or you may want to start by solving their problem. Or are you still struggling with a converting webinar? My name is Charles Kirkland. Let me tell you about this. Because they've got content, they've opted in. Now we can actually, and I've done this before with clients, where all of a sudden they're taking people back to a replay or back to a sales page where they answer objections and take care of this. And that's how we can use YouTube. Also, because we're talking about free, paid, and shared content, guess what? We also want people to subscribe to our Facebook page. We also want people subscribing to our YouTube channel. And that's how we're going to use YouTube. So we want to thank people. We want to acknowledge that they've got a problem. We want to offer to solve their problem, making us the expert. On the thumbnail, it needs to be your face. I see so many times where people go, well, Charles, I clicked on the thumbnail. It was just an image. Great, I do too. But I resonate better. Remember, we have no credibility in this niche. Put your face on the content header, your opt-in page, and your sales page. You need to build your credibility. I can tell you, I'm not going to call the guy's name. He's got a really nice Facebook following. He's got a lot of people that like him. He never uses his face in any of his products. He never uses his face on any of the Facebook ads. Had a call with him, dude, I'm like, why come you don't want to put your, goes, I don't think people will buy into that. I don't look good enough. Look, I got a receding hairline. I talk really fast. Believe me, it doesn't make a difference. Get over that right there. So make sure that you're putting your face to build branding, and the more people see you, hey, you're that, oh, that guy, you're that guy. You build that. Pictures of beaches and pretty women and boats and the ocean and seagulls, don't do it. Brand you. I will take a smaller opt-in rate to brand me. And believe me, I do it all the time. So make sure we've got our brand built into this, and we're really trying to leverage YouTube to bring them back to sell them something, to get them to consume the content. Because one of your biggest issues you're dealing with is people aren't buying from you until they consume the content, know you, like you, and trust you. A good example, product called Area 51. Never heard of it before. I logged into, somebody told me about the webinar. I got a link, logged in. 10 minutes into the webinar, I already knew I was buying the product. I'm buying this product. I like these guys, and they're great guys, by the way. So keep that in mind. We're going to use YouTube to build that trust, to build authority, because the more places they see you, the better off you're going to be. Second thing, how are we going to use Google? Because that's where most people get a lot of hang-ups at. And we need to really understand the nature of Google, and I think very few people from a marketing aspect understand it. This is the thing. Google values their customers a whole lot more than they value your money. I know, I've heard all the gurus, yeah, they're just too dumb to take my money. I'd spend all kind of money with them and alienate the Google customer. The Google customer is worth an insane amount of money over the lifetime. They're not going to alienate a single customer based on one ad. So, what do we have to do? We need to generate a user experience. Remember, we only have $500. We've got Facebook retargeting kicked in. We've got YouTube retargeting kicked in. How are we going to use good old-fashioned Google? I need to invest in some marketers. I might have to ask my lovely, beautiful wife to hand me another marker, or figured one marker would die, so I've got a second one. So let's go back to this. Yeah, that's looking better. Google. How in the world are we going to use Google? Can we have an ad that comes up, hey Bob, thanks for visiting my site. I'm stalking you. Buy my products now. Not going to cut it. You will alienate the user. Google has something called display. And I'm just going to call it DSP. Google has the ability in their display network to show your banners to other people as they visit sites. So just imagine, and we have to be congruent. This is where a lot of people mess up. You know, we only have $500 to spend. A lot of people are going to screw this piece up royally. Well, their Facebook fan page looks different. Their YouTube page, the header in it looks different. Everything they have looks different. Create and remember, we're trying to build a brand from scratch. Everything has to have your picture on it, and everything needs to have consistent colors, fonts, and a feel about it. You can simply, I know so many people with Charles, I got Canva, and I did a header up here in black and yellow. Then I went to Twitter and used a different one, and I went over here and used a different one, and you put it together, it looks like somebody just took all the kitchen and threw it up, and they go, well, gee, Charles, all I can see is like spaghetti and mayonnaise and some bread over here, some ham over here. Make your image consistent. You're branding, that's a big part of it. Most people don't want to do. In your display banners, which you can get done over at Fiverr for like $5. This is one lady that does, or it could be a gentleman, I don't know, based on the seller name. But they do 15 banners for $5. I've had great results with them. Your job is to make display banners in your retargeting campaign for Google, where you bring people back to your website, back to your website, back to your website. This is the problem. Most marketers, and I'm not calling anybody by name, I'm not saying that, we have to understand the concept of Google. Google's job is to provide the world with all the information, how they want it, when they want it, in a convenient format. If you bring people back to Google and you bring them right back to your squeeze page, remember we have the three aspects. We have the content, the opt-in, and the sale. If they visit your page, you can use Google Display to bring them back to content, right? And develop that relationship where they have the opportunity to opt in. We also have the ability to bring them to squeeze pages. You say, no, Charles, you've completely lost it. We all know Google does not allow squeeze pages. You've obviously had too much unsweet tea. Something's going wrong. Google will allow squeeze pages with no problem whatsoever. The problem that we have is, as marketers, including myself, this is the squeeze page. Headline, opt-in box, giant button that says click here and submit your valuable data into the unknown abyss of the internet, and I'll give you anything to solve your problems. That does not work. That worked way back in the day. That worked great. Still works today for a lot of stuff. For warm traffic, it works great. For cold traffic, and remember, we only got $500. You need to generate a page that is Google compliant. First of all, we need links across the top to the rest of your blog, the rest of your site. Show them that you're a real business. Mike Hill, my business partner, taught me this, and since I've used it, it has made a difference. Have links to the top. At the bottom, have footer links. Can you imagine that? Like the terms of service, privacy policy, to refund, to contact us? Gee whiz. It's like we're legitimate. Okay. Put a bio box. Put your image here. Whatever you look like, your image, and a quick description and bio of your business, how your business operates. And it may be, hey, this is Charles Kirkland. I am blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Yes, I've been watching Charlie Brown movies. Come over here, have a headline. Headline up here. Image. Description of what they're getting laid out. Call to action button, and more description. Is that so incredibly difficult? Links to the rest of your site, like your home, your blog, your podcast, your whatever. Show them your legitimate business. Put links here in the footer. Have social links. Remember, this is about sharing. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever social platform is correct for you. Have the opportunity for them to share it here. Have social proof. How many times have you gone to a page and it goes, 15,358 other people like this, and be the first of your friends to like it as well. We're not buying fake clicks, but having social proof on these pages can make a massive difference. We only have $500. $500 is the difference between you making your house payment and you actually generating at least the start of a business. We need to make sales. Guess what? Take the time to generate a good looking page. Whether it's lead pages, ClickFunnels, Optimized Press, WordPress, HTML, PHP, doesn't make a difference. Make it legit. Links, headline, image, description, button, description can tell them what they're getting, how to expect it. And guess what? You can run retargeting to this page all day long. It's not a strange thing. It's actually fairly simple. So that's what we're doing. We're running re-content in Google, Display Network back to content. They don't opt in. Back to squeeze page. Once they've opted in, we need to take them back to the sales page. This is also a biggie. Most marketers think that a sales page consists of, including myself, I'm guilty of this, so I'm not pointing fingers at you, just going back to me. Most marketers think a sales page consists of video with a time buy button. If they land on this, you better watch my hour and 45-minute. And then, by the way, at that point, if you decide to buy, and if you're still here, I'm going to have a pop-up video button. I've sold so much stuff like that, it's ridiculous. I'm not calling names. I still use it to this day, depending on the circumstances. But let's kind of keep this in mind. I left your page I have not bought. For whatever reason, your product hasn't resonated with me. But I opted in. I actually viewed the product. Guess what? A lot of times when we're doing retargeting, we need to understand where we're retargeting at. Could you imagine trying to watch an hour and 45-minute video on your mobile device? Yeah, that would be fun. Sorry, I'm not stuck on a train with headphones that long. So what happens? Understand this. If you think an hour and 45-minute video is going to load on a mobile device where I'm trying to stream it with my 3G at best, you can forget about that. Not going to happen. So separate desktop out for mobile traffic. That's very important. But at least give them a sales page. I don't like watching videos. I want to read. I read a lot. I want to read it before I buy. Scroll down. Hey, this covers my objection. I don't have an hour and 45 minutes on a mobile device to wait for you to say, oh, by the way, it works with lead pages or ClickFunnels or 5-minute funnels or whatever the case may be. Keep these two, and we don't even have $500. We have to be smart about it. The next aspect of this is we've got social sharing everywhere. We want people to share. We want to have content. So we're spending money in retargeting to basically go back to the content, to go back to the opt-in, to go back to sale. The problem we have is that works great, but how do we it's like a snowball. If you don't have that momentum, the snowball's never going to grow. Can you believe this? We have to have momentum to make snowballs grow. We're going to go back to the free aspect, and we're going to go to the earned aspect before we jump onto the paid aspect of this. a good example of this, I'm going to use Brendan Bouchard because he is somebody who truly gets it. And I just want to say, I have the highest respect for the guy. He is extremely sharp. One day I'm going to get the opportunity to meet him. But this is the deal. He is probably the best I've seen from a marketing aspect of leveraging social media. So let's just say we've got I'm going to just say FB for fan page. We've got Twitter, even though we're not using Twitter retargeting. I'm just call it the tweet. And we have other things like, oh, I don't know, like Instagram. And we also have Pinterest. Now you say, Charles, you know what? My audience isn't on Pinterest. My audience is male. My audience is not on Instagram. I'm going to tell you, you're so incredibly wrong. I have an Instagram and a Pinterest account. And guess what? I'm looking at guy-oriented stuff. There's no shortage of it. My wife looks at it when she's going to bed. She wants to relax, doesn't want to read anything. What would she look at? What does your wife probably look at? Guess what? These have taken the places of traditional magazines because people now can visually see whatever they like to. The key is you need to join all these together and have one happy party. Guess what? If I share it on Facebook, I'm going to try to share it on Twitter. If I share it on Twitter, as far as an image, I'm going to share it on Instagram. I'm going to share it on Pinterest. You want to create shareable content, and you want to make sure that you've tied all these together. And I'm even going to go a step further. I'm going to show you a great way. It takes a little work, but most people aren't willing to do it. We only have $500. We only have $500. You say, Charles, I wanted a quick and simple answer. I don't like having to think through all this. You wanted a plan. You want to leverage a plan, right? You don't want to go spend a lot of money. Spend $9.95 to get a SoundCloud account. I guess it's $9.95. It may be more. And podcast your heart out. Why would you want to podcast your heart out? Oh, I don't know, maybe the people that have iPhones have actually paid money for iPhones and are probably a higher quality buyer than Android. If you got Android, just send me a hate email and it's okay, get enough of that as it is. But the reality of it is when people who are into podcasts are typically higher end buyers. I've done enough testing on this. I can tell you higher end buyers, as a general rule, listen to podcasts. So you mean by the fact that I got a podcast, I could actually tap into higher end buyers and in the podcast say, hey, this podcast is sponsored by XYZ webinars or whatever the case may be. Yeah, use this to send people back to your content. Actually, I'm sending people on podcasts, I'm sending it straight to the opt-in page because I feel like this is a semi-warm audience. They've heard me for 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. And I can create a podcast title like, How the 4-Hour Work Week Saved My Business. Or better yet, How Tony Robbins Saved My Business. Am I doing any copyright infringement? No. I'm talking about how Tony Robbins saved my business. I'm talking about how the 4-Hour Work Week revolutionized the way I think about business. Guess what? Do you think if somebody's searching for the 4-Hour Work Week, there would be a possible chance this would show up? And if I've got good content and I'm not full of BS, they would probably go, hey man, this dude's pretty good. Let me, guess what? Join this list. But you know, have you ever tried to type in your email address on an iPhone? I got little teeny fingers. And I still like hit it and I'm like, not that button. I would use, I think it's lead digits, where you, hey, text the word Charles to number 4857, whatever. And guess what? Now they would get signed up for the email list. Guess what? Then we can start sending them our lead magnet. Now, so we could basically create little 3, 4, 5 minute podcasts. Easily do 10 of them a day. Use Camtasia, which is completely free to edit it. And I've got a podcast going out for people who are searching for these terms. Wow. I could also put my podcast on Facebook and leverage the earned traffic and the social traffic and the free traffic, right? I could also put my podcast on Twitter. Could I do it for Instagram? Guess what? Pinterest. Could I create, using PowerPoint, create a general little, picture of my face and a title of the thing, How the 4-Hour Work Week Saved My Life. Share it on Pinterest, Instagram. All leading back to my opt-in page. That's interesting. For $9.95 per month, or whatever the case may be, I can get in front of people with money. That's my podcast. And I could even have podcasts on different subjects and sub-subjects of my target audience. Wow. Okay. Let's go back to Facebook. This is a huge problem I see. We only have $500. So we know that we can retarget for sales, but we just have to get that ball rolling initially. Most people go, well, Charles, I want to start bidding on likes. Likes are a waste of time. Likes are a vanity measure at best. 5 years ago, likes meant something. Do they mean something now? They still do mean something because I can target people who like my page at a lower cost, generally, not all the time, than I can target anywhere else. Plus, I figure the likes are generally, probably highly qualified, but that's not what we're after. This is what I want to do. Do people go to content to opt into your Silly Squeeze page, or do they go to Facebook to opt into your Squeeze page, or do they go to Facebook for content? I would tell you, put some of your best content you can ever find on Facebook and amplify that thing. Amp it up. Pay some money. This is not a course on using Facebook, but pay some money to amplify that content in front of the perfect target audience. Guess what? Okay, so Charles, I agree with you. We're going to amplify this content on Facebook in front of our target audience, but I don't know who my target audience is. And I'm going to be like, dudes, dudettes, you're missing the point here. Look, go to whatever magazine. Let's say we're in the diet niche. Go to Weight Watchers and type in the word Your Niche Media Kit, and you will find that Weight Watchers has a media kit, and the average age of a Weight Watchers user is 46, makes $72,000. I'm pulling this from memory, by the way. 46, female, and she makes $72,000 a year, I think, household income. Wow. So that means if I want to go into Facebook and I want to target my perfect buyer, I would target using a media kit and find out that she's female. I'd find out her age. I'd find out if she has kids in the house. I'd find out average home value and also find other things that she likes. And I would create a Facebook campaign only targeting the demographic data I get out of the media kit. But Charles, you can use Google Planner and get all kind of stuff. Media kits in magazines, like let's just say that I'm a magazine editor. I can't pull out statics like this out of the magical unicorn orifice. You can't. You have to pay somebody else like Nielsen, I think it's Nielsen. They will audit your readers and tell you who they are. Because you're selling advertising, you have to have it audited by a third party. You just can't like randomly make up stats. At least you shouldn't. Because of that, we can now narrow down our product down to the age, sex, income level, household income level. Think about that. You now have the perfect buyer. They're willing to spend money for magazines. Yeah. Guess what? I would amplify my content to these people. But Charles, where do you get the content from? Go grab a copy of Weight Watchers and look at the title. Go grab a copy of any magazine in your niche and look at the title, because guess what? If we're going after people who are, reading Weight Watchers magazines or men's weightlifting magazines, would it make sense? Just asking. Would it make sense that you would use the same title formula that most all these magazines have? And go grab a copy of Cosmo. It's always about how to have better sex and how to get your man to do this and get your man to do that and how to look younger and whatever the case may be. Copy that. Don't copy the headline, but copy the formula. Go to Google Images, type in Cosmo headlines, or just go to a place called justmediakits.com and they will have all the headlines for you. Look at the headlines they're using in that particular magazine. Use that to base your article on. Create your article, amplify it in Facebook. That's how I'm going to spend my $500 on retargeting, amplifying the content, getting people to the site where they can opt in for all my retargeting to kick in. That's simple. That's easy. This is it. This is Charles from the Media Buyer Association. Hope you enjoyed it. Talk to you later.